What are you going to be watching for in that news briefing from state officials?
I suspect that they will be talking about or urging people to stay off the roads. It is a Saturday night, Sunday kind of a incident there, and so hopefully people will heed that. What makes it difficult is people coming from other areas trying to get through Atlanta or whatever. But because it's such a widespread storm, other states will be affected by this, and so you hope they heed the same thing in those other areas as well. That would be ideal. Right? They're going to stress, you having emergency equipment and making sure that you're safe and so forth and so on. Do not go out unless you have to. Everything that we have been iterating, I think they're going to do the same thing, but just from a government perspective. Obviously, GDOT doing their job. They're all amped up, ready to go. They had a event last weekend, and so they're geared up. They're ready to roll, and so we just got to let them do their jobs. Typically, if we're out on the roads and they can't get out on the roads, ice makes this more difficult. And they're going to stress that as well, right? They're going to want you to have a little bit more patience with what they have to do. If it was a snow or a all sleet situation, it becomes a little bit easier to clear roads. But with ice, it becomes very, very difficult. And so they just don't want you out there bottlenecking and give them a chance to do what they do.
Now, you were talking about how tens of millions of people, in fact, impacted by this storm across multiple states. Mm-hmm. How many people are under warnings right now versus watches, and where do we fall in all that?
I only saw one warning out there, and that was in Oklahoma. Right, mostly watches. They extend from Albuquerque all the way over into New York. We are under a watch, really, for our northernmost counties. There's a little bit more certainty that our northern counties will experience more winter weather than the Atlanta metro area and southward right now. But no doubt that Atlanta and South will be added into the watch.
Okay.
All right. What comes next is going to be an advisory. All right. And then after that, then we'll have some warnings. And so as we get closer, that's what will be taking place.
All right, so I guess we're about 48 hours out or so at this. Well, perhaps even a little more, because it's not so much a Saturday event at this point, but you're looking Sunday into Monday.
Yeah, no, early in the week we were looking at this thing coming in Friday night into Saturday, and now it looks more like it's going to come in during the day on Saturday. Okay. It may start off as rain because our temperatures will start off in the morning in the 40s. We'll be falling through the day, and so if we're above freezing, obviously it'll start off as a cold rain, and then it'll start mixing in some sleet, maybe some freezing rain, before it changes over to all sleet or freezing rain Saturday night going into Sunday morning. And I think that's when the bulk of it will be around. The question is going to be, how long during the day will it last on Sunday? You've been hearing meteorologists talk about a wedge. And how long will the wedge hold on? Models typically don't do well with wedges. And so the one that I was talking about, you and I were talking about earlier, the Euro, really washes that wedge right on out early. And if that's the case, then you're talking about it changing over to rain on Sunday, probably by Sunday afternoon. And that would be another ideal scenario or the best scenario. But if that wedge holds on, then you're talking about a prolonged icing event. And so that may last into Sunday evening. Then the precipitation leaves, and then we'll have to watch the freeze and then thawing out as we head into Monday afternoon and Tuesday.
We're still waiting this news conference from the Georgia governor at any minute. In the meantime, Chesley, kind of breaking down what we need to know this weekend. So let's say that best case scenario does pan out and it does switch over to rain on Sunday. What does that mean for perhaps schools come Monday morning?
Tough to say. Now, I'm not the superintendent.
No.
But because of that refreeze, I would think you'll see a lot of delays, if not closures.
Okay.
Because, you don't want to put the kids out there and buses out there on back roads, because that's what's going to be most affected, those back roads with more ice. All right. And so I would suspect they would either close or delay. And we have the ability to go virtual now. Right? And
That's
so
true.
it makes it such an easier decision to say, hey, let's just go virtual, let things settle down, thaw out, and then boom. I know you got kids and you're probably thinking about that more so than me. Those days are over.
Yeah, mine are in diapers still, so I'm a little more concerned about how we're going to entertain them for 48 hours on end this weekend, but we'll figure it out. In the meantime, we also got rain right now, Chesley.
Yeah, a lot of people waking up thinking this is the event, and this is not the event. This is kind of the precursor to the event. We have rain out there right now, some moderate pockets around. Where you see that yellow and the orange in there indicates some moderate pockets of rain. No lightning strikes at all. This is not thunderstorms. It's just the rain. A nice little steady light to moderate rainfall for us, and it's beneficial, believe it or not, because we have drought conditions over our area. It is widespread this morning. I think it becomes a little bit more isolated or scattered once we get to the afternoon and tonight. It's going to be with us. It's going to be with us right on through Friday. So if you look at, say, Atlanta right now, you're catching a break from the rain, but right there on the back doorstep, more is coming. So that's the way it's going to be off and on. Hopefully, if you have not left the house yet or you're thinking about going out and about this afternoon, take the rain gear with you. You're going to need that. At times, there will be a little moderate pocket that'll get you. Temperatures started out in the 40s this morning. That's where we are right now. I suspect we'll stay there at least through mid-morning, and then once we get toward the afternoon, temperatures will start to warm up somewhat into the 50s. I'm thinking right around 51 degrees for an afternoon high temperature for today. So it'll wind up being a mild afternoon for us, which is okay. It's okay, folks. It's okay. Tomorrow will be much of the same before that colder air gets in here. Now, as we look at the 7-day outlook, it does show 53 degrees for the high temperature on Friday, and then boom, the bottom falls out. So that's that Arctic air getting in here. That's what we will be waiting on Saturday. So we won't start off with any rain or precipitation. That's the way it looks right now. It probably won't begin until we get to the afternoon. Could be late afternoon on Saturday before we start to see that precipitation roll in. Late afternoon, those temperatures will be down into the 30s, so mixing will take place first, and then we'll start to see that changeover begin to take place. 38 degrees for the high temperature on Sunday after a 28-degree start. That's where it gets a little dicey right there. Will we get up to 38? Will that temperature rise above the freezing mark on Sunday? That's what we'll have to watch out for. If that wedge holds on, then all bets are off. And so it could stay as sleet or freezing rain, likely freezing rain at this particular point. And now you're talking about maybe up to an inch. All right, and that is devastating. I think I heard Danielle Moss with you earlier talking about the difference between a quarter of an inch and a half inch. There's a drastic difference in that. Somebody came to me yesterday talking about, yeah, I heard we're going to get like 3 inches of ice. And I said, slow down. 3 inches of ice would do major, it would cripple us, right? You're talking about roofs caving in, that kind of thing. Ice is very heavy.
Right.
And so you talked about it even yourself, talking about how it weighs down power lines, that kind of thing. We would be without power for a long time if that was the case.
We are the city in the forest here in Atlanta. You've been here a long time. I mean, it's beautiful, but I guess there is a price to pay.